Hi, this is Mrs McTaggart. In this video we are going to look at calculating some simple mental percentages. This is one of two videos, and what I'm doing is I'm starting with doing mental percentages where there's like one direct step to get the answer, like dividing by a single number. Now these are all common percentages. It's really handy to know off by heart, and some of them you'll be dead familiar with already. For example, 50%. Most people can tell me straight away what 50% is. For whatever reason, they've heard it before or seen it early on. 50% is a half. Now, the reason you're getting a half is because percent is always out of 100, and two lots of 50 make 100. Therefore, we divide by 2. So the method for 50% is dividing by 2, or we could say it is a half of the amount. I'm going to jump down. I'm not going to necessarily do this in the right order. 25% is then half of 50%. So if you half a half, you get a quarter. And so 25% is a quarter, which is using the divide by 4 process. And you can either divide by 4, or there is a method where you half it and half it. So essentially you're getting 50% in your head and then 25%. I'm going to come back to this 33 and a percent, 33 and a third. How many 33 and a thirds go into 100? Well, 33 times 3 is 99. A third times 3 is 3/3. And 3/3 is just worth 1, giving you 100. So there was 3 of them. So this is 1/3, and then you divide by 3. But to me, the clue's in the question. Look at this here. You've got a little third in the question. So 33 and a third is finding a third of something. 20%, there's actually 2 ways of doing this. 5 times 20 is 100, so 20% is a fifth. So you could just divide by 5. But what you can also do is, if it's not easily divisible by 5, so not like 35, 40, 45, like a harder number, what you can do is you can go get 10% and then double your answer. But to be able to do that, you have to get 10% first. So 10 times 10 is 100. So 10% is 1 out of 10. So you divide by 10. So what I was saying there is, to get 20%, you could do 10% and then times your answer by 2. And then 1% is just 1/100th, because 1 times 100 makes 100%. So to get that one, you're just dividing by 100. So if you can recognise all these percentages as their common fractions, like we've done in the table, then you can always easily remember what to divide by, as long as you remember we normally divide by the denominator or bottom number of a fraction. So I'm going to do an example of each of these with you just now. Now, some of these are based on whatever number I'm asking you to find 50% of, etc. So I'm not doing these of the easiest numbers. Perhaps I should probably, in hindsight, do some with easy numbers and some with hard other ones. So 50% is 1/2. So I'm going to rewrite this question as 1/2 of 640. So I am doing 640 divided by 2. If you can do that mentally, great. If not, do you know what? You go and do a little sum and you do 640 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 0 divided by 2 is 0. So we get £320 for that one. If I want to 25%, 25% is a quarter. From my little table up here. So we're asking to find a quarter of 280. So we could go a little divide by 4 sum. So 280 divided by 4 doesn't go to start with. So we make it 28 divided by 4, which is 7, giving me 70. And then that would be 70p. Let's quickly discuss the other method though. For 25%, we could have done half of 180 is, let me just change my pen colour a second. Half of 180 is £1.40. And then half of £1.40 is 70p. We could have done it that way as well, halving it and halving it. Same could have been said if I wanted 25% of the 640. I could half it 32, half it 16, answer 160. So there's elements sometimes of maybe lots of different numeracy skills, hiding zeros, putting them back on, good old-fashioned divide sums work as well. It just depends how good your mental arithmetic is, but the method is 50% we half, 25% we're dividing by 4. Let's look at the next one. So let's look at 10%. Now I've turned it to dollars. I don't know why that is, but let's not worry about it too much. Now 10% is 1/10 of 35. Now, if that's a number you can just divide by 10 by knocking off a 0, brilliant, but I can't on this one. So to divide 35 by 10, I'm having to think of the decimal point is there. The decimal point is hidden at the end of 35, and I need to move that in one place. So that would make 3.5, or in this case, $3.5. But remember, money always needs 2 decimal places, so we need to stick a 0 on. So 10% is moving that hidden decimal point in one place. making it $3.50. Right, 33 1/3% is 1/3 of 180. So we're going to do 180 divided by 3. You could just treat this as hide the 0 for a minute and do 18 divided by 3 is 6. Stick the 0 back on, gives you 60. Or if in doubt, do a good old sum. 3 into 180 is 6 and a 0. Your choice. So that's 33 1/3. What still to do? A 20%. So 20% is 1/5 of 240. And 1/5 of 240 I'm going to have to do a quick sum for. 5 into 2 doesn't go, so we make it 24. 5 into 24 is 4 remainder 4. And 5 into 40 is 8. So my answer is £48. Now, I do find it easier in this case to go find 10% and say 10% is 24. 20% is double 24, which is 48. What do you think? So 2 different options for your 20%. I'll be honest, most of my pupils don't remember the whole fifth thing. And then my last one, we're trying to find 1%. So 1% is 100th. So we are doing 100th of 470. Easier said than done. Which is then divided by 100. So again, if you can knock off 2 zeros, brilliant. I can't in this case. So I'm going to have to move my decimal point that's hidden at the end in 2 places, which makes it makes it 4.7. So actually £4.70. All right. So there's some very basic quick examples. Obviously some are easier than others depending on what I'm asking you to find the percentages of. One little tip, if I asked you to find maybe just 1% of £4, for example, that's quite tricky. But if you think of £4 as being 400p in your head, it's dead easy and actually makes it £0.04, or it makes it 4p, however you want to write it. So what I've got now is I've got some examples. I have got an easy, a medium and a hard. The easy column is your maybe second, third level. If you get to hard column, you're pushing into kind of fourth level. I've left the table there. Feel free to pause and try these. The answers will come up at the end. And there are your answers. I hope this has helped. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.